What is up, guys? Nick Hernandez back here with another episode of NHTV. Today I've got the Microsoft Lumia 950 XL in front of me. I've been using this phone for about 2 to 3 weeks now, and I want to give you 5 things that I like and dislike about this phone, as well as an overview of the overall experience. But first, let's talk a little bit about the hardware. So this phone is an all plastic design. This is the white color. It also comes in a black color as well. Keeping at the back here, we've got a 21 megapixel camera with a triple stage LED flash. We've got a speaker. We have some microphone grills on the top and bottom, and you've got this nice little Microsoft logo. It's actually like a type of steel, I believe. I'm not sure if it's plastic or not, but it feels really nice. And you've got this PureView Zeiss to kind of give that little sponsorship that they have for the camera back here. Very nice optics. I'll talk a little bit about that later. But if we go over to the side, we've got a power button with a volume down and volume up buttons. We've got a camera dual stage button. On the bottom, we've got a USB Type-C port. On the other side, you've got nothing there. And on the top, you've got a headphone jack. And if we can get that in focus, there we go. I'm sure that's in focus. Yep, there we go. So we've got a headphone jack on the top there. On the front, you've got a 2560 by 1440 2K display. You've got a little Microsoft branding there and a front-facing camera. And when I turn this on, you've got a little iris scanner there that's for Windows Hello. I'll also talk about that a little bit later. You've got your microphone for your calls, and that's pretty much it from a hardware standpoint that you can see. But there's a little lever here on the bottom where you can basically pop off the back of this and get to the 3300 milliamp hour battery or so. I'm not sure if this is the 3270. I know this is the international version, so I'm sure that's the size of it, or it's the one that's a little bit over 3300 milliamp hours, but that's around what you're getting. And a micro SD card slot and your SIM slot as well. So this is the international version, so you can actually use this not only in the US but in other carriers around the world as well, which is pretty cool. I ended up getting this phone for around $450, so I'm going to be basing this review off the $450 price point as opposed to the $650 price point, because a lot of these phones are being sold on swappa.com or eBay for around that price, and that's really the true value that you'll get for it when you buy it, and this is what you're going to receive. So without further ado, let's talk about the 5 things that I like and dislike. And let's start off with the 5 things that I like. First thing that I like is the screen. So again, it is a 2K display. It's an AMOLED display, and it's really nice to look at. It's got great viewing angles, nice colors, punchy colors, nice contrast, and just overall just looks great. Deep blacks. It's a real step up from the past Lumia, 1520 displays. Those were the only 1920 by 1080p displays back then, and they really bumped it up with a 2K display here. And overall, I think it's great. Even though there's no real YouTube app, I've been using the YouTube app on the internet, and it looks great when you are watching videos. And I'll just play a quick video here from Unbox Therapy to show you guys.
What's up, guys? Lou here, back with another video, and today I am checking out something small. This is the SwiftPoint GT mouse. Precision, ergonomics.
So basically you kind of see here that you've got a great viewing experience. I can't really adjust from the YouTube app the resolution, but overall it just looks like a clear display, clear picture there. So let's move on to the first thing that I dislike, and that is creaks. So this phone, since it is a plastic design, it creaks a lot. And I'm not sure if I can get the sound, on my microphone or anything, but just believe me when I say that this phone creaks. And that's because of that plastic build. It's not like a metal unibody design like an HTC M10 or an iPhone 6s or 6s Plus. So you do lose a little bit, and every time you pull it out of your pocket or you're pressing on the corners or on certain points of the back, you do hear it creak, and it's a little annoying. But I think overall this phone is built well, but that is only the annoying little piece from the hardware there, which I think they could have improved with maybe a little bit better clips, or just maybe even going an all metal design. I don't know. Hint, hint, Microsoft. Second thing that I like about this phone is the camera. So the camera is really nice. It's the 21 megapixel camera. Again, it's got that 3-stage LED flash. And one cool thing I want to show you guys is if you click and hold on the camera shutter button, you can actually launch the camera. And from there, you can use this button to take photos and basically click down. And I've had the flash on because I want to show you a pretty cool feature, but it's very quick to focus. Like, so you can see here, you can kind of go in and out. and just focus very quickly. It's not at the stage of the Galaxy S7 or S7 Edge. Again, this phone was released last year, but it is pretty fast for normal Windows phones. But a little overview of some of the things you can change here. You have full manual controls on the top there. If you click this little arrow, you've also got your flash and a button to move to the front-facing camera. On the side here, you can change, some of the different lenses if you have different apps, photo timer, and settings. And the settings kind of go, whether you can disable the camera button, you can have different aspect ratios. You can change from, I usually use the 16 megapixels, but you can change up to the 21 megapixel. If you change the aspect ratio to 4:3, you can go all the way up to that 21 megapixel. It says 19 here, but it's really 21. So I change it back to 16:9 because that's the resolution that I prefer. You also got focus light, capture living images, and you've got video recording, which you can go all the way up to 3840 by 2160 at 30 frames per second. So that's 2K at 30 frames per second. Pretty nice. Actually, no, not 2K. That is 4K at 30 frames per second. So very nice there. And digital video stabilization as well as some related settings and an about app. So a whole bunch of things going on there. But one thing I mainly want to show is that you can go into the camera app and you can basically, after it does all of the post-processing, you can choose the best lighting. So you click this little button here and you can choose the amount of LED flash that you are applying to your photo. Really cool feature, not seen on any other camera, at least out of the box for software wise. I'm not sure if there's any apps on Android or iOS, but I'm assuming eventually in the future iOS and Android is going to adopt this type of feature. Very cool. Hats off to Microsoft for doing that. I'm going to show some photos now so you guys can judge for yourself, but let me know in the comments below what you think. I think overall this is a great camera and it takes really good photos, very vibrant photos. And although the stabilization of the video is not that good, I would say that it is a decent video camera as well. So leave comments below. Also click the like button at the end of this video and just talk about some of the photos and what you like and don't like. So without further ado, take a look at those. Alright, so welcome back. So the next thing I want to talk about that is my second biggest gripe with this phone, or second dislike, is the front-facing camera. So I'm just going to boot this up now and show you the front-facing camera right here. Let me open up the camera app, and there it is. So here's the front-facing camera. It is a 1.2 megapixel camera. It is it's not a very good camera at all. I'll just point blank say that. I've used the Nexus 6P before with the 5 megapixel camera. I've used a lot of phones that have 5 megapixel cameras, and this phone just doesn't cut it. I mean, it has very grainy photos. It doesn't work very well at night or with low lighting at all. There is an option to do some video recording, but it's not very good. I'd say it's either 720p or maybe even 1080p as well. But overall, just a bad experience with the front-facing camera. And considering, even though I bought this phone for $450, if I bought it for $650 and I got this camera in it, I'd be really upset with that. It should be at least 5 megapixels, being that we're in 2016 right now. But we'll have to deal with that, and that's just a little gripe with the camera. Overall, considering that the back camera or rear-facing camera is so good, I can kind of ignore that feature a little bit. The third thing that I really do like with this phone is Windows Hello. So you'll see when I turn on the device here, I have to move a little bit closer for it to recognize my eyes, but you'll see this feature that you can basically turn on the phone and unlock the phone with your eyes, with your iris, and it works with this little iris scanner that's there. And I'm just going to keep turning this off and turning it on so you can see how well this feature works, and it's very quick. When your eyes are there and in front of the screen, it works like a charm. It works like a fingerprint scanner almost. I wouldn't say it's as fast as a fingerprint scanner, and I would say if there's one little gripe that I have with it, it doesn't really work well when you're walking, but when you're wearing glasses, where you're wearing sunglasses, or at night, it works. So it's a pretty cool feature, and with this day and age, one video I was watching the other day was with The Verge, and they were talking about how fingerprint scanners are now being hacked into using simple things like Play-Doh and 3D printing of fingerprints. You're able to get into a phone rather easily with that. With this, you really can't copy another person's eyes unless you are, you have their eyes with you and you put them in your head and you're using them. So really cool feature. The phone basically uses this as this little iris scanner as a scanner for your eyes to measure the different blood vessels that you have in your eyes, and that's how it works. It's totally unique to yourself and more secure, I'd say, than a normal fingerprint scanner. So kudos to Windows to coming up for that. They were kind of the innovators, and I haven't seen another phone that kind of does that with this technology, with this iris scanner technology. So cool feature there. Only when it really works, I guess. But I would say that 90% of the time it works when you have the phone in front of you. Just some little technical difficulties going on here. The third thing that I dislike about this phone really is just related to the software. So the software is running on Windows 10 Mobile, and overall I wouldn't say it's more so the lack of apps. I'd say that there is plenty of apps on the Windows Store, but it's more so the quality of apps. The quality of apps is really poor. I mean, things from WhatsApp, poor, Facebook, poor, Instagram. You don't even have an Instagram app on there. You have to get a third-party app, and every time you open up the phone, it refreshes. It's really weird. And also, you can't just upload photos and videos. You have to upload photos and then pay extra for videos and then pay even more money as well to get ads removed. So this Instagram app actually does come with ads, and you'll see when it loads up this Mustang Fan Club page that I follow, there's some ads on the top. Very annoying feature. Instagram should be able to have an app on here, or Windows should find a way to have them put an app on here, but they don't. Another app that's not on here as well is Snapchat. I know it's very popular with people. I'm not too much into Snapchat. I recently just got one. But overall, I'd say that this phone, it's not so much quantity, like I said, it's more so quality. Here's an example of another app, the MLB at-bat app. I could sit here and just wait for hours on end for the app to load, and then the scoreboard to finally pop up. It'll just sit here, and I'm not even kidding. It'll sit here and load for hours before even a score comes up. I actually haven't seen a score come up while I've used this phone, and just letting it sit there and load. So really poor feature here, really poor performance on Microsoft's point. They have to improve Windows 10 more for people to want to adopt it, and they have to get more apps on board to improve the quality that is on the Windows Store. So that's one thing that, if anything, I have a gripe with this device. It's the software. The fourth thing that I do like about this device, though, is although the software is poor, overall performance is very good. So it's very snappy. You can kind of slide in and out of apps here. It's got 3 GB of RAM, so you can save a lot of apps in the background, and there's really not a lot of waiting time to go back into an app for it to refresh or anything like that. It's very quick, very snappy. Overall performance is really good. I had a game in the background playing here. So if I open that back up again, oh, well, here's the stutter. Again, technical difficulties, not even sure what's happening. And there we go. The game's back on. It's very snappy, very fluid. Same type of experience that you would get on an Android or iOS if you're playing this game. So kudos to them for that. And that's really due more so to the hardware than it is the software. So I died in that game, so I'll get out of here. But overall, very pleased with the performance of the device. The fourth thing that I dislike actually about this device is kind of related to the performance, not really. It's that the phone gets really hot. So right now I'm holding it. I was playing that game for about, 15 seconds, maybe even less, and the phone is already hot. And I've been using this device for the past, however long this review has been going, and this phone is getting hot. You can feel it. It's really poor. And one feature that Microsoft was selling with this device was that it has some type of water cooling on the inside that allows for the Snapdragon 810 to not get hot. We know that there's a lot of, talk about the Snapdragon 810 getting hot, and it really started with the LG G Flex 2 that I reviewed earlier this year. But this phone definitely beats that phone in getting hot. I don't know if it's a gimmick that the water cooling feature doesn't work, but it really hasn't worked for me, and this phone gets hot every day, whether I'm talking on the phone or I'm using, playing a game or anything. Even on Instagram, it gets hot, and it's really just an unenjoyable experience. I don't know if a software update can fix that, or if it's just that the water cooling system inside of this phone wasn't working well or just doesn't work well at all. But I think that's one gripe. It does get hot, but it doesn't really show any type of performance lag after it gets hot. But one kind of gripe that I have with it, I think if out of the 5 things that I say are the worst about this phone, this would be my least favorite thing, is that it gets hot. The 5th thing that I like, and final thing that I like about this phone, is the battery life. So the battery life is actually really good. I get about 3.5 to 4 hours of screen on time without a problem, with about 30% battery left at the end of the day every day. I could use this phone a whole lot in the morning, drain 20%, and by 12 hours later only drained another 40%, leaving me with another 40% left to spare. So every night I've gone to bed with enough battery to last me the whole day, enough battery for me to carry out anything that I have to carry out for the rest of the day, and not really have to charge the phone again. And if I do have to charge the phone, this is a USB Type-C on the bottom. It does have quick charge, and also a feature that I haven't been able to test out because I don't have a wireless Qi charging dock is the wireless charging. So you can wirelessly charge this battery. I'm not sure it's as fast as the connected version, but having that option is pretty cool. And if you're into that kind of stuff and you have a dock, you can use this phone for wireless charging. And the final 5th thing that I dislike about this phone is the speaker. So the speaker is on the back, and I think that's the one thing I just dislike about it. It's actually a pretty good speaker. It gets very loud. The sound quality isn't amazing, nothing compared to like my Nexus 6P or an HTC M9, M8, M10, anything with those boom sound speakers, or any of type of the bottom facing speakers. But it does get very loud, but it's on the back, and that's just the gripe that I've had with this device, is that the speakers are on the back. So that gets a little bit annoying from time to time, that you'd have to kind of cup your hands around the back of the device so that you could hear it. But if they could have put the speaker on the bottom, same loudness on the bottom, I wouldn't have listed this as a dislike. But since it's on the back, I mean, come on, it's 2016. Don't put your speakers on the back anymore, Microsoft. Put them on the bottom, or put them on the front, hint, hint, because on the front, that's where they're better. This is where you watch videos. The speakers should go on the front, but hey, some companies haven't listened to that yet, or they've put them on the bottom, which is fine, but on the back, that's a big no-no for me. But all right, guys, so I've talked about 5 things I like and dislike about this phone. I'd say overall I'd give this phone a 7.5 out of 10, and I don't think that's bad. I think that's pretty good, considering I got this phone for around $450, again, off contract, international version, brand new on swappa.com, and I'm going to be listing this phone once I post this review as a like new mint condition phone on there as well. I'll leave a link in the description for the sale, and if anyone's interested in purchasing, you guys can either put a comment below, or you can directly comment on swappa.com. But overall, it's a 7.5 out of 10. I would recommend this phone for someone who is interested in having a great camera, does not mind having less quality apps, so long as you have enough apps for everything. And for anyone that really likes Windows and really likes this ability to unlock your phone with your eyes, I think that's a cool feature in general. I think it works very well, and I think that's a feature in itself. If someone was really interested in having something like that, having that extra security, they would love this phone. I would not recommend this phone to anyone who likes the quality of their apps, loves Instagram, loves going on Facebook, loves using social media or a multitude of apps. I would say stick with your Android. If you have an Android, stick with your Apple phone, or iOS, iPhone, whatever it is, for that. But thanks, guys, for watching this video. Hope to post this review very soon so you guys can see it. And I hope you guys like it. If you did, click a like button down below, and also comment. And also, if you're on Twitter, you can follow me at Nick Hearn TV. That's Nick at Nick Hearn TV. For my Twitter account, I'll be posting more updates about the new devices that I'm getting and any type of, trends that I see happening in the industry. I kind of retweet that from time to time. But thanks again, guys. I hope you liked this video, and I'll catch you in the next video.